Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, we are back here on this video that we doing right now, recapping what I just saw with the fellas on this mic with me just saw. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury trilogy. By the time a lot of y'all will hear this, it will be on a Monday on Can You Dig Sports in the huddle. So I'm letting y'all know right now, this video right here is being recorded right after the fight. 10-15 minutes after the final bell went off, we are recording this. So this is not going to be, time for us to digest what we just seen. We're going to give it to you how we see it right away. So before we get into it, I got to introduce the fellas on the mic with me today. Zay, Dean.O, what's going on, my brothers? How y'all doing today?
Hey man, it was actually a fascinating night. Like I said, I told you a little bit off air. I had a little errands to do. I had a job to do real quick. I was able to find a parking spot quick, get some quick food, and watch the fight with no disruptions whatsoever. It's a great night. The boxing fight was amazing. I can't wait to recap it with you guys. Dean.O, talk to us. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling great, guys. I mean, what a night for boxing. We're going to get right into it. I'm going to shoot the mic back to Leel. We're going to get right into it. Let's do it.
During this fight, before we get to the analysts of the fight, I kept having to talk to myself. I had to say, Lil, let's remember, you're not fighting tonight. Okay, you're watching the fight. Can you please calm down and stop being nervous? All right, because you're not fighting. You get to sit back and watch these two warriors go at it. So please, calm down, because that's how I felt throughout the whole entire fight. I mean, throughout the fight, my heart was like my heart was out my chest, brother. I felt like I was watching The Quiet Place Part 2 again. Like my heart was literally out my chest, and it was just like you never know what was going to happen in each of the rounds, and we got that in a heavyweight showdown. This is one of the greatest matches I've seen in my life, right? Like I said, this is instant reaction. I'm going to be doing a lot of hot takes, a lot of probably overreacting, but this was the best fight I've seen in my life. All right, since I've been born, all right, I didn't get to watch all the old time fights, the Thriller in Manila, all right, but I got to see Wilder and Fury, best fight I've ever seen in my life. All right, take that for data. Yo, Dean.O, Zay, let's play. All right, so I'm going to start y'all off here, very brief, and I'm going to pass the mic to whoever wants it. All right, entertaining fight. Wilder showed heart. Fury, most importantly, showed heart as well. I mean, what can you say? Both fighters hit the canvas. Fury hit the canvas twice in the fourth round. Wilder hit the canvas a couple times. And, I thought Wilder, round one, he looked good. It was like, okay, this is the weight, the 2-year, patch up your skills, jab, and I saw that in round one. Now, as the fight went on, I thought Wilder went away from that. And that's the thing that everybody told Wilder. That's the thing that everybody said on the air. He gonna try to come out like that. But when the pressure gets tough and Fury's out there jabbing his ass off, or you gonna revert back to your old ways. And a lot of people said, yeah. And once again, we saw it. He had his hands too low, I thought. He was backing up. That was wrong for him to do. You do not back up when somebody's coming forward and jabbing you, outworking you. All right? And that made it hard for Wilder. He is the power puncher. He needs to back Fury up. But Fury, once again, bulking up. It was very hard for Wilder to try to push Fury off. And I thought the referee did a good job. There's no excuses. Because the last ref, I thought, he didn't do a good job of diffusing a lot of situations. I thought Fury got away with a lot of headshots. I thought Fury got a lot away with some aggressive, tactics. But in this fight, the referee stopped everything. I'm an honest guy. I got to call it like I see it. The referee made sure this was a clean fight. Fury was just the better man. After round 4, when Wilder got them 2 knockouts, Wilder was just moving off a heart. That's basically what I saw. Wilder, after that, round 4, when I thought it was over, and we can go into the slow count or whatever that was, but after that round, right, Fury still got up. And that's the thing about the slow count. Yeah, you could say the referee slow count, right? Like in part 1, we thought it was a slow count. But if he gets up, whether it's a fraction second later, he got up. He's a warrior. That's Fury, right? And after that, it was just pure hard from Wilder. I'll pass the rock. Let Dean.O, talk to me. What's your takes?
Oh, man, guys. I mean, that was probably the best heavyweight fight and maybe the best boxing match that I've seen in years, maybe since the first fight. I mean, Both guys are just warriors. I'm proud of Wilder for his effort. I'm proud of Fury for his effort. And they really are the two best in the world. I don't want to hear it. Usyk may be the champ right now, the other champ. I don't want to hear it. He's number 3. Joshua, he's number 4. It's Wilder and Fury, number 2, or Fury Wilder, 1 and 2. And that's that. It was Wilder. He started off fighting pretty well when he started attacking the body, throwing jabs and throwing straights right at the body. I was like, oh man, this is what we've been seeing. Just like you said, like in the videos and everything, he was attacking the body. I was like, you attack the body, you attack the head. It was going pretty well for him. Fury knocked him down the 3rd. So, but by then I had it 1-1 on the scorecards. I had them trading the first 2 rounds. And then I had Fury taking the 3rd. Then Wilder knocked him down twice, and I thought Fury wasn't going to get up the second time, but he did. He got up, and when Fury, when he got down the first time, I was like, oh man, like this could be this. The tides are starting to turn. You know, is this Wilder switching it up? Because he looked a little gassed after he got knocked down the first time, but then once he started coming back, it was looking pretty good. And then, but going back to the count. The ref had to stop the count for a second because Wilder had to get in his corner. So if Wilder wasn't in his corner, the count would have kept going. But because he was in the corner, he had to get back, which is why people are going to debate about it. But that's how it works. So there's really no debate when it comes to that. And then the rest of the fight from rounds 6 to 11, I had Fury, and it was a crazy knockdown. And it was a great fight, man.
Zay, what's going on?
Well, I just want to first and foremost, I have to give a big shout out to Deontay Wilder, because without Deontay Wilder reaching out to Tyson Fury back in 2017 to get Fury back into boxing, we would have never seen Fury boxing ever again. You know, he was going through a really tough time mentally. Wilder reached out, got him back into the sport of boxing, and somehow, some way, Fury rose back into the rankings, and we are here today. You know, and that's something that you marvel at, and that's something I wish that they was able to have a conversation in that ring. I know Wilder was fresh off the knockout. He's still really upset about the results that happened, him losing. So I understand that him talking to Fury at that particular moment is something that that didn't happen, but hopefully down the line they got that conversation, because without Wilder, Fury would not be in that ring. Now, watching this fight, I feel like Wilder early on established his jab, but he overly used his jab too early, and he kind of gave away the game plan. You saw Fury wasn't throwing many punches the first 2 rounds. He was allowing Wilder to do what he thinks is he's taking over the fight. He's being the aggressor. He let Wilder just kind of continue to do this quote unquote polished tactical game of jab, 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 overhook, jab, 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 right. And then when you saw it like from the 3rd round, the 4th round, even when Fury went down twice, Wilder started throwing, like I told Lil a couple episodes ago, the Wilder punches. He started throwing just flinging punches around like a schoolyard kid. And that was something I was worried about from the fight. I was like, if he's going to be the tactical guy, you have to know how to throw the punches, know when it's precision striking. It's not about just launching a punch and hopefully it lands. You have to know when you're fighting a guy like Fury. Fury has fought tactical fighters in his entire career. He's seen fighters. He fought Klitschko in his prime. Klitschko was one of the more tactical fighters him and AJ ever seen. You know, and this guy knows how to throw his punches. So when you go from there to going against a guy like Fury, who's a power puncher who packs his punches, you know how to fight against these guys. Wilder had opportunities to take this fight and win it, but he loaded up his power way too early, and he got tired as the round went on. And I think, you know, when you look at Wilder's career, it started when that first Luis Ortiz fight, right before the Fury fight. Luis Ortiz kind of opened up the blueprint on how to fight Wilder. When you're aggressive towards him, his defense is not polished. He gets hit a lot. And if you hit him with the right punches, he gets dazed. He starts to wander around. You saw his eyes, they bulge. He looks around like he's worried about something, like he's seen something, like he's being attacked, literally. Like he can't defend himself. I saw that in the Fury fight. I think Fury could have possibly ended this fight in round 7, round 8, because that's what the face Wilder was giving us. He was worried. He was scared. He kind of looked like he didn't know how this fight was going to end up. He lost his confidence in a sense, and it was disheartening to see, because I'm like, Wilder, I hoped after 2 years of not fighting this guy, after 2 years of not even having a fight, Fury was going to come in here. He was going to come here and fight Fury in a more tactful way, but Fury came in and won him.
I don't mean to jump right in here out the gate like that, and I understand everything that you're saying, and it's factual. But at the end of the day, Wilder is just who Wilder is. All right, we can hope and try to say, well, he's going to come out with this game plan and that game plan. Malik Scott told him all the right things in that corner. I heard Malik Scott in that corner. He told him everything he needed to tell them in the fight, and he still didn't apply it. So to me, with a 2-year gap like that, and with Malik Scott putting out a coaching display, basically from the corner, I thought Wilder is just who he is, and he's not going to be anything different, and that's just what it is, but when it comes to that, you still got to give him heart. You still got to give him the credit for heart, right? Because he's a warrior. He is what he is. Even when we thought he was going to go out earlier, he still basically fought his way back in the fight, right? There was one round, I believe it was round 10. Was it round 10? Yeah, it was round 10 before the round he got knocked out, where Fury was winning that fight. Fury got the knockdown in that round, and then Wilder came right back up and almost won that round. He came back up with a great response to end that round. So he always had that heart. But Fury, the thing about Fury is that he kept coming. He kept coming. He took Wilder's best shot, right? He took it in the first fight, got up. He took it again 2 times, got up. So we got to start talking about Fury's chin, because it's not like Fury can't get tagged. He got tagged a couple fights ago, long time ago. I forgot this dude's name. It's not ringing in my head. But in round 2, he got tagged. And he got back up and won the fight. So he has a chin. And we got to give him that credit. It's not only the boxing. I think he showed power in this fight. Look at that shot that ended Wilder's night. That was the execution right there. That was a firm execution right there. Ended Wilder's night. And now Wilder really can't say that the ref stopped the fight or the corner stopped the fight. Wilder got knocked out. Fury won this fight. He's the better man. And I hope Wilder come to terms with that and he shakes Fury's hand tomorrow like a man, all right, and say, you know what, you were the better fighter. You are the better fighter than me. And that's just what it is.
I agree with you, man. I mean, it was definitely sad to see that Wilder didn't want to shake Fury's hand at the end of the fight, because that's what Fury said in the press conference or the interview after. He was like, Wilder didn't want to shake hands or see me after the fight. So I would like to see if Wilder could shake his hand, because they're 2 gladiators, man. They gave us a treat. And it's at the end of the day, boxing is a sport about respect, and they're the 2 best in the division right now, and they're going to go down in history as 2 legends: the power, the boxer, and the puncher.
My thing is, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Dean.O, and I apologize. My thing was Fury said everything correctly in that press conference about Wilder. Wilder is the 2nd best in the world in boxing. I think when you put Wilder, if you would have put Wilder against Usyk or even AJ, Wilder's winning those fights. And I think that's just what it is. It's just Fury is at a level that we have not yet to see in a heavyweight boxer in the past 20 years. And I'm comfortable with saying that. Fury at 6'9" is moving like a damn welterweight. That is scary, to say the least, man. And this guy is packing power and to be able to knock out Wilder. And I'm saying like this, Wilder's not the best defender. And I feel like if Wilder takes his time, polishes his game a little bit more, comes back, he could regain those titles. I think he's not that far away from Fury. It's not like Fury's all the way into space and he's all in Earth. Fury's in the sky, man. He could reach the stars. It's just that, and Wilder's in the sky. He could reach the stars. It's just Wilder needs to polish his game a little bit more. Come back, clear your mind, okay? You hold those losses as a chip on your shoulder. All right, Fury has my number the last couple fights. Fine. I'm going to come back stronger. I'm going to polish my game. I'm going to beat up whoever I need to beat up to get back to championship contention, and then I'm going to challenge you for those belts again. Or I'm going to challenge AJ for the belts. Or I'm going to challenge Usyk for the belts. Whoever, to get those belts under his strap, because he is a champion. He deserves a championship belt. It's just that he needs to polish his game a little bit more. Like you said, if you're going 40 wins straight, of course you're not going to change your game plan. Why? I just won 40 straight. Why would a boxer change his game plan after winning 40 straight fights, 42 straight fights? He's gonna continue to have that confidence that I'm the greatest in the world. Nobody could beat me. Even in that draw against Tyson Fury, right? That was the best fight Wilder has fought against Fury. Was that first fight, because he was so confident. That confidence at an all-time high. But when Fury got back up, you saw it. That was the instance where Wilder was like, "This guy is something different. This is not no regular fighter. This is not the Luis Ortiz's, just the Verns."
You saw his face. You saw his face when he got up. This guy was signing autographs after that knockdown. The brother was like, "Oh, here you go, Deontay. Yeah, stay in school, bro." And then he turned around. Fury's ready. He like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's Fury. Look, and that is with boxing. It's like once you're dominant in boxing, right? We saw with Mike Tyson, and you touch the canvas for the first time, and you take an L. You're not the same, you know. And I think that's with Wilder. You know, you had this ego. You're knocking dudes out. You won 40-something fights straight. We're using one shot, one power that you know can take in anybody's night. And then somebody wakes up from that, right? Twice. He gets up from that. And, you know, in the 12th round, like The Undertaker. And now he, in the second fight, brought the fight to you. Pretty much beat you around in that fight. And then in this fight, he gets up from 2 knockdowns. And he ends your night with a sniping right hook. With a right jab, right to the side of your face. Ended your night. It's like, I don't know what more Wilder can do. You know, as far as with Fury. I don't even know if we're going to see another fight. And I want to get to that hypothetical question down the line before we end off here. But sticking on Wilder here, and I want to throw this question out. Was putting on that weight good for Wilder in this fight? Because I don't know. I don't think so. You know, I understand why he did it, because he knows Fury is aggressive. You know, he's going to bear hug you at times. He's going to grab. That's Fury style. You know, it's not like it's Fury style. So I guess he wanted to, you know, all that muscle on you, you know, it's going to wear you out. So I guess his idea was, I'm going to bulk up and try to create some of that separation in those tie-ups, right? And I think it hurt him in this fight because I didn't think he had nothing left. I mean, literally, after round 4, he was fighting pure off of heart. That's basically what it looked like to me. And he was gassed. Fury was he had more mileage on him. So, did you think Wilder made a mistake by putting on that extra weight?
I think so. I think it was. And I think the reason being is because what Wilder is Wilder's a guy who's elusive. He's fast on his feet, and he's able to throw, like I said, those wild punches from different angles and attack him. You know, this fight, he tried a different approach he's not accustomed to, and he tried it for the first time. It gave him extended rounds going into 11th, but you're supposed to establish that game plan as the fight goes on. When you look at tactical fighters, they don't establish a million jabs in the first round and then coast the rest of the fight. They spread it out, jab here, move around, let the opponent feel like they're the aggressors, like Fury was doing. He allowed Wilder to attack him and be aggressive as if Wilder was leading the fight, as if Wilder knew he had Fury in the corner. And then once Wilder felt comfortable, that's when Fury started establishing his game plan. That's when he started attacking him head, body, putting the weight on him, doing these different things that happened in the second fight to put Wilder in a similar situation as the second fight, to putting him in an uncomfortable state where he doesn't know what to do but just to throw more wild punches, lose your stamina, not listen to the coaches because you're so worried about what Fury's doing in the ring instead of what you can do to win the fight. So I think Wilder should have stayed at that 218 weight, established more speed, because I think in this fight, speed would have been the benefactor. Because like I said, Fury is he moves fast, he has good head movement, he has good footwork. I think if Wilder would have continued what he did in that first fight, if you have to look back at the tapes, look back at what you did in the first fight and establish that in the third fight, I think he would have had a better opportunity at winning this fight, even though he did have those 2 knockdowns. I think he could have easily got some more knockdowns later in the fight if he would have kept that 218 weight.
Now, that is a good take, Zay, but I do have to disagree with you guys. I think it was good for Wilder to put the weight on. I think where Wilder went wrong was shying away from the game plan. You know, after the 5th round, he sort of just started headhunting. He wasn't attacking the body much anymore. And that's when Fury took over. Because you know Tyson Fury, from the second fight, he's going to put that weight on you. When you're clinching, he's going to put that weight on you, and that's going to tire you out. So to counter that, you got to come in heavier to give you some more strength so you could withstand that for at least for a little bit longer. But I got to go back to the game plan.
I don't even think he did a good job of doing that. You know, Fury... He didn't. So it's like he put on that weight for what reason? So you put it on the weight and you're losing your power pretty much. Not your full power, but you're losing the speed of your power by putting on the weight, and then you're still not even to fight him off. So it's better off that you didn't even come in with that weight. You know what I'm saying? So you could have more juice to go down the line in these rounds.
And he looked more gassed. To me, he looked more gassed. He looked extremely gassed. And I think I was watching my family the fight. And I was telling them, I said, you could see in Wilder's face, it was early in the round, I think it was round 6, or like Wilder's face, he looked gassed. His eyes, when his eyes start bulging out, I know something's wrong. Because I've seen that same face when he fought Luis Ortiz. I've seen that same face when he fought Fury. Those other 2 times, that face is where it's like, what the heck is going on? Like he's lost. Like he literally, he's just lost in the ring. And I don't know if the added weight helped him or it hindered him because of how tired he looked. You know, I don't know if he worked on conditioning as much. That's an issue. A lot of these fighters put on weight but they don't work on the conditioning with the weight. They just have all this heavy weight. They add a bunch of muscle. Oh yeah, I did nothing but bodybuilding. I got built bigger muscles, but you have to also train your conditioning to make sure you're lasting later in the rounds. Wilder was sweating bullets in that ring, and then we look at Fury, the brother just glistening like he just came out the pool. Like I don't like
he just came from birth, brother. Like he was Simba. You know what I'm saying? That's how Fury looked like, and that's just what it is. And it's not like we trying to throw excuses out there, but there is something called overtraining. Number one, there is something called building up with no conditioning. And let's say Wilder probably did one of the two. I think so, but it's not to shortcome Fury. Fury won the fight. I'm not going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole with Wilder once again. I did in the first fight because I thought it was legit. But in this fight, there was some controversy before the fight about Wilder's team checking the gloves, and they thought he had less padding. And then Wilder, you know, he said, I'm going to even the playing field. So he wore a glove with less padding. So both fighters fought this fight with less padding in their gloves. So I don't know if Wilder got an injury because I saw him, you know, doing this with the hand. I don't know. And I saw a doctor come in the ring. That's suspect to me because I don't know if he sustained an injury. I watched the video earlier today where he was talking about how he stopped wearing those gloves because he had injuries with those gloves, but he's going to wear it because Fury was wearing the glove with less padding. So if he had an injury history with those gloves, let's say that he possibly had an injury here. Either way, you know, I think Fury was just a better man in this fight. He won the fight. It is what it is. He's the best heavyweight champion of the world. And I would not go AJ number 4. I would go Tyson Fury number 1, Wilder number 2, number 3 I would go Usyk, number 4 I would go Ruiz, and number 5 I would go AJ because I like Ruiz. That's just me. I like his style better. You know, I like his style better. He's one of my favorite boxers to watch. He's prime time. AJ, that Pillsbury dope boy, when he get tagged and he's all over the place, I ain't rocking with AJ. I'm sorry. He's the most overrated fighter in the heavyweight division right now.
Yes,
but that's how I see it. But let's throw this out here before we close, right? Do we want to see another fight with Wilder and Fury, a fourth fight, or do you think Fury, he beat him 3 times, it's a wrap?
If I have to choose, I would say yes. And I say the reason why I would say yes is because Wilder and Fury is essentially saving the division from drowning. Because once Fury beats AJ, once he beats Usyk, it's going to be over at a certain point because Fury even said it. Once he beats all the top guys, he's going to sit out for 2 years and come back and fight every other year. Just whatever. When they need someone to call, I'm going to come back and I'm going to beat that guy because that's how confident he is in his skills and how confident he believes he has the division on a chokehold. I would love to see Wilder, like I said, come back, polish his game, fight some more fighters. But when you're fighting these guys, because I already said Wilder is a guy who could beat other people. You know, he could beat everyone else in his division. You come back, you fight these other guys, but you're fighting to polish your game for Tyson Fury, not to just come back, knock these guys out, and then just disappear. Come back, you work on your game, hone your skills, work on these skills that you're doing in training against these fighters. The jab, moving your feet, defense, doing different things that you're gonna need to fight Fury. Because if you're practicing it in the ring, it's only gonna be muscle memory when you're fighting a guy like Fury. Continue to do these things, come back. He's gonna come back strong. He's a great fighter. He's gonna come back strong, and then you fight Fury for that 4th fight. Everyone's gonna be like, oh, Fury already beat him, but Wilder is the next best guy in his division, and no one can argue that.
And I agree. I would want to see a 4th fight, just not right away. I want to see Fury move up and fight the winner of AJ and Usyk, and Wilder fight somebody else in the process. Maybe a Dillian White, raise his stock up a little bit more. And now, down the line, if Fury, because he has all the leverage here, he beat him 3 times. If Fury wants to take that fight down the line, then I would be glad to see that fight. I mean, come on, bro. What we saw today was greatness. Who wouldn't want to see it? I don't give a damn about what happened 2 fights before. I don't care. I know what I saw in that last fight, and I want to see it again because I bet you $100, right, that we ain't gonna get these fights in other divisions. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, what the hell are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So if we get in this fight, run it back again. Bro, the world is 2020, bro. All right? People getting vaccinated, people wearing masks. I mean, bro, come on, bro. It's the time we living in right now. There's a whole bunch of garbage going on in the world around us. Run it back. I want to see it again, but maybe it's better for me to see it down the line and not just right now. Dino, what's your take on that?
I would have to agree, man. It would definitely be better to see down the line and definitely not right now. I want to see other matchups now. I know that today Joshua triggered the rematch clause with
Yes, he
Usyk,
did.
so that's going to be happening in the spring. They said the early spring, so probably like March or April. So then after that, I would like to see Fury get the winner of that, unify the division, and I still want to see Wilder fight AJ. I really do. I want to see them collide one day because I think, first of all, I think Wilder knocks him out, but second of all, I think it's another great fight. It's going to be a big money draw. It's definitely it's
Hey, can
box.
we see AJ and Wilder next? Like after AJ, let's say AJ loses to Usyk and Usyk fights Fury. Why not? Can we see an AJ Deontay Wilder and the winner fights the winner of that? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we see that?
I think so. I agree 100%. That's what I'm hoping for. Actually, I'm really hoping for that because then that would definitely make some good matchups down the line.
That's what I'm saying. And you know, to end this off here, it's crazy what we saw tonight. It's gonna go down in history. But look, bro, this is legacies right here. The legacy was on the line in this matchup. This is a matchup that you don't want to lose. But at the end of the day, we gotta give these warriors who got in the ring all the credit in the world for giving us something to watch at this time and giving us something good to watch. Not just nothing to throw on, right? And we waste our money or we waste our time watching it on a free stream. But to give us something that we're gonna remember down the line. So with that being said, I think it's about that time. I had one more thing on my mind, but it's not coming to me. And I don't want to stall. But any last initial thoughts, any closing arguments, any closing statements that we have here before we call it quits?
I definitely have, something to say. Deontay Wilder should hang his head high. This guy fought a champion in Tyson Fury that we have yet to see in a very long time. And Wilder did everything he could. That first fight was electrifying. We all were convinced that Deontay Wilder was the better fight in that first fight when he knocked down Fury twice. And I think as the fights went on, I think Fury just got more adjusted to how Wilder fights. And, he just adjusted. That's what the great fighters do. They come back and adjust. I think Wilder did the best he could to adjust to Fury. It just wasn't enough this time. You just got to keep fine-tuning your skills and come back strong, King, because you are the champion and you're going to be a champion again soon. Just got to keep working hard and you'll be there again.
Last statement, closing statement.
It was definitely a great night. Wilder and Fury are the two best in the world, man. Fury's just being that big, 6'9", 280, and the way he moves and the way he moves his body and how unconventional he has all the tools, man. He's a hard guy to beat, and he really is. He's fantastic, man. He's the best. He really is. Wilder's second, and Wilder's skill set, it looked better in the beginning, and it looks like it could get better down the line as long as he sticks to his game plan in future fights. And I'm excited to see him get back in the ring. Wilder, proud American. He fought well, represented us well tonight, and all hats off to Fury, man. He's a phenomenal fighter, and I'm a fan of both of them, man. I really am.
Yeah, I guess my closing statement will be, it was a great night. A night that I'm gonna remember. When I watch these videos that we do, I remember the other day I was watching the Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez in the middle of quarantine. I watched those fight reactions we did, me and you, Dino, and it's just like, these are memories. I'm going to be able to go back and watch the fight reaction and relive this moment that I had on my couch watching this great heavyweight bout. But with that being said, I don't want to hear the excuses no more. Fury's the better man. He won the fight. He's the best heavyweight in the world. We're not going to say otherwise. He is. But rather, if you do come out the next couple of days and say that Fury cheated, well, guess what? Both of y'all wore less padding in y'all gloves. Fury's just a better cheater than you, if you want to pull out that card. And it is what it is. I'm going to end it there. Fury, best in the world. And it is what it is. 1833 Radio BX. Y'all already know what's next. On to the next.